6:30 p.m.
Thank you. And we are also live on GETV, so we're ready to go. The July 6th, 2020 regular meeting of the Gardner City Council will come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
Councilor Boone. Councilor Boone. Councilor Boudreau.
Present.
Councilor Craig Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Ronald Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Dinalowitz.
Present.
Councilor Graves.
Present.
Councilor Hardern.
Present.
Councilor Mack.
Present.
Councilor Tyros.
Present.
Councilor Walsh.
Present.
President Kaczynskis.
Present. Please rise to recite the opening prayer and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Almighty God, we thank thee for bringing us together this evening. Inspire us to worthy deeds and sound decisions, and direct us toward the attainment of good city government. We pray thee to bless and protect all the people of our city, and to so guide and inspire us that we may deliberate in unity and harmony. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcement of open meeting recordings. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Gardner City Council will be conducted via remote participation and broadcast live on Gardner Educational Television, Channel 8, and Gardner City Hall's YouTube channel. The audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings will be posted on the city's website as soon as possible after the meeting. Since this meeting is being conducted via Zoom, there will be a roll call vote on all motions. Also, if you'd like to be recognized, please raise your hand in front of your camera and I will recognize you by calling on you, and then you may proceed. Reading of the minutes of the prior meeting. We'll begin with the reading and approval of the minutes of our June 15th, 2020 regular meeting. Is there a motion on the floor? Councilor Ron Cormier?
Make a motion that we waive the reading of the minutes and accept them as presented.
Second the motion.
Motion made by Councilor Ron Cormier and seconded by Councilor Walsh to waive the reading of the minutes of the meeting and accept them as printed. Is there discussion on the motion? The clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Boudreau.
Yes.
Councilor Craig Cormier.
Yes.
Councilor Ronald Cormier.
Yes.
Councilor Dinalowitz.
Yes.
Councilor Graves.
Yes.
Councilor Hardern.
Yes.
Councilor Mack.
Yes.
Councilor Tyros.
Yes.
Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
President Kaczynskis.
Yes. The motion carries. The public hearing, number 10288, a petition by National Grid for permission to install 197 feet of conduit starting at 370 Park Street and heading north to pole 40 Clark Street. The public hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the petition?
Yeah, I will.
So I understand we have Rob Williams here from National Grid present. Rob, go ahead, please.
We're doing this work for infrastructure for new DG sites. So it's basically just to provide interconnection points for DG services in the Gardner area.
Okay. Is there anyone, are you finished, Robert? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else present in favor of the petition?
I have a question of the representative when that's the appropriate time, Madam President.
Okay.
Mr. Williams, this is Councilor Walsh. This petition seeks authorization for 197 feet of conduit starting at approximately 370 Park Street northerly to pole 40. I understand it. Back on October 7th of 2019, the council passed an order for electric conduit on National Grid's petition for a length of 1,100 feet of conduit starting at the same 370 Park Street, heading north to pole 1 on Clark Street. Again, that was passed by the council on October 7th, 2019. And this appears to be running from the same place in the same direction, except for 197 feet instead of 1,100 feet. Is this petition in substitution for that?
Yes. We don't need to go that far with the underground. We only need to do the 197 feet to pole 40. So
Okay,
with
so
the pads.
with that in mind, Madam President, I intend under new business to seek or to propose that we rescind the order contained in order number 10165 passed by the council on, assuming this passes, passed by the council on October 7th, 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there anyone else in favor of the petition present? Anyone else in favor of the petition? Okay, is there anyone present in opposition of the petition? I understand we had one constituent who was signed up to call, one resident signed up to call. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, she was notified today of the information to call in. She did not get back to me today. Actually, I sent her 2 emails and I have not heard back, but she was provided with the information to come onto Zoom at this time, and I've not heard anything since.
Okay. Second time, is there anyone in opposition of the petition? And third time, is there anyone present in opposition of the petition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Ooh,
Madam President, if I could just, I'm on Facebook with the resident, and she's saying that she's trying to participate in the meeting and it won't accept. I cannot log in, so I just figured I'd say that for the record.
okay,
She's not able to log in evidently. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Graves. Is it Judy Tessinger?
Yes.
Okay, she contacted me as well. I expected that she'd be on it. She can't log in. And I was going to say as well that she is not in favor of it when we came up into discussion. So thank you, Councilor Graves.
You might want to consider not closing the meeting, but that's your prerogative. Thank you.
Is she trying to log in? Is that what she's telling you?
That's what it said. She says it's only Facebook, so I can't hear her, but it says I cannot log in, and she's trying to participate, but it won't accept.
Okay.
That's all I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Sure.
May I make a suggestion?
Councilor
Madam?
Walsh? Yes, please.
May I suggest, if there's nothing else to be done, that we suspend the public hearing while the resident makes a continuing effort to join the meeting, and if that occurs successfully, then of course you could open it back up.
Thank you, Councilor. So we'll do that. That's we will suspend the public hearing currently, and if she's able to log in, then we will open it back up so that she's able to speak. Okay, communications from the acting mayor. There are no communications. Petitions, applications, communications, etc. At this time, I would like to call on Councillor Walsh to take item number 10295, and I will recuse myself and step away from this matter because I have a potential conflict. Counselor Walsh?
I accept that, Madam President, and be happy to cover this particular item.
Thank you.
I assume it's going to be a referral in any event, but in any event, 10295, an application by Gardner 10 Pins Inc., 560 West Broadway for renewal of a bowling alley license. It's item number 10275. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to refer to public safety.
Councilor Craig Cormier moves that the item be referred to the Safety Committee for study and report. Is there discussion?
Second.
Second on the motion, seconded by Councilor Tyros. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boudreaux,
Yes.
Counselor Craig Cormier,
Yes.
Counselor Ronald Cormier,
Yes.
Counselor Donalawitz,
Yes.
Counselor Graves,
Yes.
Counselor Hardern,
Yes.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Tyros,
Yes.
Counselor Walsh,
Yes.
and President Kaczynskis has recused herself. It passes 9 in favor.
I return the chair to Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Item number 10296, a petition by National Grid for permission to install 6 SO poles on Clark Street beginning at a point approximately 25 feet north of the center line of the intersection of Reset Avenue in Clark Street, continuing approximately 700 feet in a northwest direction. I'll entertain a motion to refer to the Public Service Committee and schedule a public hearing.
Motion.
Motion made by Counselor Boudreaux and seconded by Counselor Mack to refer to the Public Service Committee and schedule a public hearing. Is there discussion on the motion? The clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boudreaux,
Yes.
Counselor Craig Cormier,
Yes.
Counselor Ronald Cormier,
Yes.
Counselor Donalawitz,
Yes.
Counselor Graves,
Yes.
Counselor Hardern,
Yes.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Tyros,
Yes.
Counselor Walsh,
Yes.
President Kaczynskis.
Yes,
10 yeas.
the motion carries. Reports of standing committees, the Public Service Committee, number 10288, a petition by National Grid for permission to install 197 feet of conduit starting at 370 Park Street and heading north to pole 40 Clark Street. We did hold a public hearing on this item this evening. Report from the Public Service Committee, Counselor Boudreaux.
Thank you, Madam President. The Public Service Committee met on this and did vote favorably on it. And with the condition stated that on Park Street, wherever they break into the ground, they do repair from berm to berm. I also am a little, I'm going to make that motion, but I'm a little uncertain, whereas the resident that has very loudly made her opinions heard over the last couple of weeks has not had the opportunity to speak on the record. But I'll leave it in your favor, making a motion that we approve the petition with the condition that the company repairs the street from berm to berm as it has been completed in the last 5 years per city ordinance.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there a second? Motion made by Counselor Boudreaux and seconded by Counselor Graves to recommend the petition. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I think the motion is to pass the petition.
I'm sorry, to pass the, okay, motion made by Counselor Boudreaux, seconded by Counselor Graves to pass the petition. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Counselor Walsh?
Has there been any further indication from the resident that she's available to participate in the hearing? If not, I leave to the council president's discretion whether to hold over this to our next meeting. I anticipate that we'll be having one or more special meetings before our next regular meeting on at the first Monday in August. I anticipate we'll have special meetings associated with the budget or otherwise that this item may be able to be added to but I certainly want to be sure that all residents have the opportunity to participate in the public hearing.
Yeah, I think we should carry this over to the next meeting. The resident has, should be able to be heard publicly and has been in contact with a number of counselors. So we'll be able to get that information to her and hope she can log into the next time.
I move that this item be tabled to the next either a regular special meet or special meeting.
Motion made by Counselor Walsh, seconded by Counselor Boudreau to table the item and have it on the agenda of the next scheduled meeting, whether it be a special meeting or regular meeting. Is there discussion on the motion?
Madam President?
Yeah.
Sorry. When it was finished, I need to ask a question.
Counselor Harder?
Yes. I have something from Judy that says she is able to log. I am able to log. This came in just a couple minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
That's all it says.
Okay.
I can add to that, Madam President.
Counselor Graves?
Yes, thank you. She's telling me the opposite. She's saying, we gave her Mr. O'Keefe's phone number to call him, and she said that it will not let me call. And then she is trying to zoom in with the correct Zoom number, and she's not able to get in. So I don't know what, maybe, so it's a wise decision that was suggested by Councilor Walsh, I believe, to just table it for our next meeting. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Walsh?
This will give the resident the opportunity to submit written documentation as well, in addition to continuing an opportunity to participate in the public hearing at the next meeting. So,
Thank you. Oh, looks like the resident is connecting now. So I'm just going to give it a couple. Oh, look, I think there she is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't see her.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
her. That's her.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for audio.
Are you there, Liz?
Yeah, Judy?
Okay.
Hi, yeah. So we're going to reopen the public hearing and Judy, you can go ahead. Speaking in opposition to the petition.
Okay, my opposition is if you're looking at this, the discussion. So what they're sending you guys is what they're doing is from 370 Park to 40 Clark, which is Lower Park to Clark. If you look at the map, it's from Nadeau Street, which is up above the address, to National Grid's road there, which is directly in front of my house, which is not what they're stating they're doing. That's my concern. They're going to be directly in front of my home again. You know, and it's definitely what they're showing on the map is not what they're telling you they're doing. And that's my concern, because I don't want to go through this. We're going to do one thing and then end up with something else again. This has been constant with National Grid. They tell you guys one thing and then it becomes something else.
Okay, well, Councillor Boudreau, did you have any information on that? I believe the Public Service Committee meeting, they talked about it being from a typo. It was supposed to be 307 Clark.
Yes.
Instead of 370 Clark.
Yes.
But I believe it still, all the abutters still within the area were contacted? Was that, can you speak to that?
That's exactly what happened, Madam President. There was a issue with 370 versus 307.
Okay. So can we just have it noted that it's going to be 307 Park Street instead of 370 Clark Street? Counselor, sorry, go ahead, Judy.
We weren't notified that there was a change in address information, though. That was not given to us, that there was an error.
Okay, Counselor Walsh, did you have something to speak to that?
I move the petition be amended from 307 to 370 to 307.
Second.
Okay. So I'm gonna, I'm sorry, Counselor Mack?
We amended it to say that when we our public service committee meeting, we amended it to 307.
Okay.
That should be in our minutes.
So my understanding is that it was, again, regardless, all of the appropriate abutters were communicated with about this, though, correct? Regardless of whether it was 370 or 307.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a Counselor Walsh?
Well, I appreciate the fact that the Public Service Committee recommended that it be amended to 307, but that still has to, what's before us is 370. And I think the petition itself by the council as a whole needs to amend it to 307. So I think that's why I moved it.
Okay. Counselor Graves, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I lost the end of what Councilor Walsh just said. Through the chair, did Councilor Walsh just say that's why he's still recommending that it be tabled for the next meeting?
No, if I may, Madam President.
Yeah, Counselor Walsh.
I'm recommending that it be amended from 370 to 307 because the council has to act on that because that's the item that's before us. And assuming that that it is amended, I don't see the reason for it being tabled, and I would withdraw the motion to do so.
Counselor Graves.
Okay, thank you for that, Councilor Walsh. So my only question or issue would be whether or not the notice to the abutters would be valid then, because unless I'm missing something, I'm reading the notice to the abutters and the notice says Park Street and Clark Street National Grid to install 197 feet of conduit starting at 370 Park Street and heading north. So are you saying that that would include 307? That incorrect information that says 370 Park Street, which I think if there is even a 370, it would be way down. I don't know. All I'm asking is was that we have to ask whether or not that was proper notice to the abutters because they have the wrong address. So maybe Councilor Boudreaux can talk about that.
Counselor Boudreaux, do you have, is that through the chair to Counselor?
Yes, I'm sorry, through the chair. I'm sorry.
So, as Mr. Clerk and the director of the DPW,
excuse me, Counselor Boudreaux, I'm sorry. Judy, can you mute your phone? I think we're getting feedback from your background because I'm having trouble hearing the counselors. Do you see where to mute it?
No, I'm on a different phone.
Okay.
She's calling in. She's not.
Okay. Bob O'Keefe's he's gonna mute. He'll mute you, but he can unmute you as well. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Counselor Boudreaux.
As was stated by the city clerk and the DPW director, there was the issue with the 370, 307. They believe that all of the appropriate abutters have been notified, but I would not be against re-notifying them as it did say 370 in the notice. And that is a substantial change because as 370 would be considerably further down the street than 307. If others are comfortable with it, we can table it as we all know. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Mack.
Madam President, this was brought to the clerk's attention today. to make sure this was correct. And I'm going to read the response from National Grid that I don't see the address being 370 to be a problem. The original petition of 1,100 feet was approved using the same address. All this address typo will have done is over-inform homeowners outside of what's actually required. And I just want to share that with everybody, but I actually disagree because obviously 307 to 370 is outside of the address level, so they probably wouldn't have been notified. But I just wanted to let you know what National Grid's response was today.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Donalowitz, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I did. Looking at the map too, 307 seems to be in the middle of where they're proposing, not on an end and then to another pole. So I don't know if that needs to be addressed when they come back with a new plan. But I would be against. I think they should get a letter saying exactly what's going to be done as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the information that Councilor Mack just provided to us. And National Grid, I agree with Councilor Mack that National Grid is incorrect. It doesn't matter what we did in October because now they're coming before us with a brand new request for 197 feet instead of 1,100 feet. But I think with respect to the notice issue, if we can ask Ms. Teisinger if the DPW director or somebody else called her and notified her. I think I'm hearing that she's saying that she didn't get proper notice, but if she says she got proper notice, but she just doesn't agree with the construction plan, then we could move forward because she would have had notice if she agrees that she did. So I think we should ask her if that's what her contention is. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Bob O'Keefe, can you please unmute Judy Teisinger? Okay, Bob cannot turn on a microphone. Judy, can you, there should be a request on your phone to unmute you. Or whatever device you're using, it should be a box that pops up. There we go.
Yeah, we found it. I'm
Okay.
sorry, this is not my phone. I had to go to a totally different phone. I
okay.
apologize.
That's all right.
So we were notified of 370 Park to Clark Street. That's what we were notified of. We were not notified that they would be doing construction in front of our house other than what's on that map, which is different than what they stated.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Walsh, did you have your hand up?
I'm going to suggest that new notice be sent, Madam President, that this be tabled to the next appropriate meeting that would provide the clerk with opportunity to send proper notice based upon 307. So my motion to amend remains. That passes.
Can I get some clarification on some stuff?
Yep.
Sorry.
Hold on one second, Mr. Williams. Go ahead,
Yep.
Councillor Walsh.
I'll give Mr. Williams an opportunity. But I think we have to be careful that we've given proper notice, and I think it should be renoticed for 307, and the abutter is appropriate to that address, and to the pole 40 be given notice, and that we take it up once that has occurred.
Thank you, Councillor.
So my motion to amend remains, and my motion to table remains.
Okay, so, okay, I'm going to have Mr. Williams speak first in the discussion. Mr. Williams, go ahead.
So I just wanted some clarification. So as I understand that the new petition that was released, when it was sent to the abutters, it said that the work was going to be from 370 Park Street north to pole 40, and that was what people were notified for.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. From the sketches that we have on that, it's not in front of 370. The work would not be going that far. Pole 40 is actually not. It's pole 40 is more in front of 307 than it is 370. 370 is further down the road.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the motion by Counselor Walsh is to amend to the petition to amend it from 370 to change it to 307 Park Street, heading north to pole 40 Clark Street. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Counselor Graves. So motion made by Counselor Walsh, seconded by Counselor Graves to amend a petition by National Grid for permission to install a 197 feet of conduit starting at 307 Park Street and heading north to pole 40 Clark Street. Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, the clerk will call the roll.
On the amendment, Councilor Boudreau,
Yes.
Councilor Cormier,
Yes.
Councilor Ron Cormier,
Yeah.
Councilor Villalobos.
They can do what they want.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Councilor Graves,
Yes.
Councilor Hardern,
Yes.
Councilor Mack,
Yes.
Councilor Tyros,
Yes.
Councilor Walsh,
Yes.
President Kaczynskis,
Yes.
11 yeas on the amendment.
Okay, the motion carries on the amendment. And then we're going to, so then the second motion, Counselor Walsh, is to table this.
Table this to a date, either special or regular, after the amended notice has been given to the proper parties.
Okay, so the motion made by Counselor Walsh to table this until the proper parties are notified on the amended item to either a special or regular meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Tyros. Is there discussion on the motion?
Yes. Clarification, please. You're going to set the date and then the notice of the correction will go, because utility notices require a minimum of 7-day notice. So we'll make the correction. I will ask National Grid to produce a proper plan with the exact locations of the conduit, so it's very clear to the abutters and to the counselors before the notice goes out to a continued hearing or meeting, correct?
Yes.
One other comments. I just want to make sure this is clear.
So
Okay.
the notice has to go out, and then there'll be another public hearing scheduled, and then it will be on that next meeting whenever the public hearing is going to be held.
So as I understand, the reason that it's not getting passed is we need to fix the typo that was in the wording of the petition.
Yes, that's correct. And the abutters need to be notified. And then we need to have a hearing to make sure all of the appropriate people are notified.
Okay.
Councilor Graves?
Thank you, Madam President. I should have asked this before. And I hope there's no urgency to this work that that National Grid proposes to do. In other words, I hope there aren't some residents that have service lapses or something, because if it's something urgent, I think we'd have to maybe take a different direction. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Williams, can you speak to that? Is there urgency on this project?
I don't know what you guys have for DG sites that are coming up in the future. I was told that it was for DG sites in particular. So I I'm not that involved with the entire construction plan or what the solar companies are doing currently. I just know that this work is for that purpose.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Walsh?
I presume that an EG site is a solar
Yeah, solar
array.
distribution.
I believe it's the one at the Fish and Gun Club, to tie that in if I'm not mistaken. And it may very well be that the other petition that's before us that for the first time today is associated with that as well.
The second one, I believe, is part of the one, the Clark Street. I believe that is also has to do with the same thing as this work request petition does. It's for the same work.
So
Okay, thank you. Counselor Walsh?
if that's on, it's the same project, so there's can't be any urgency to one if we have to wait to do the other one as well. Maybe we conduct a public hearing on both at the same time.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Any further discussion? Is that, Mr. Clerk, is that clear in the description? In the,
If what Councilor Walsh just said, that if they're part and parcel to one another or each other, that the hearing on the 3rd or the proposed hearing on the 3rd, we continue this one and we hold a hearing on the new petition immediately following the postponed hearing, subject to having a proper plan that's readable, that matches the language of the petition is very important. So I will reach out. I mean, Mr. Williams is here, but I'll reach out to my contact to ask them to make sure that that plan matches the language in the petition, specifically the addresses that are referenced in the petition.
thank you, Mr. Clerk. Counselor Walsh?
One last thing. In the past, we've had a requirement that the city engineer sign off on a plan that's submitted with a petition like this. I think it's a practice we may want to go back to so that we know that the plan that's submitted is in accordance with the language of the petition.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Any further discussion? Okay, the clerk will call the roll.
This is on the postponement of the hearing, correct?
Yes.
Postponement of the hearing and subsequent.
In the petition.
Okay, and that is, my understanding, that is the only motion we're taking up, notwithstanding all the other motions that were made during the discussion, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Boudreau,
Yes.
Councilor Craig Cormier,
Yes.
Councilor Ronald Cormier,
Yes.
Councilor Donalowitz,
Yes.
Councilor Graves,
Yes.
Councilor Hardern,
Yes.
Councilor Mack,
Yes.
Councilor Tyros,
Yes.
Councilor Walsh,
Yes.
President Kaczynskis.
Yes,
11 yeas, Madam President.
the motion carries. I don't believe I officially closed the public hearing, so I'm going to close it after I reopened it earlier. Okay, moving on to unfinished business and matters for reconsideration. There is none, and we're going to go into new business. Councilor Hardern.
Nothing this week, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Boudreau. Councilor, you're muted. Councilor Boudreau.
Nothing really. I believe this is our last meeting with the council president as the acting mayor. So I'd like to thank you for taking up that responsibility and doing the entire city a favor while we held an election. I think you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Donalowitz.
Echo Councilor Boudreau's sentiments. Thank you, Councilor Kaczynskis, and nothing else.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. No new city council business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mack.
No new business this evening. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Tyros.
No new business. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Craig Cormier.
I would just like to give kudos to the clerk and his volunteer staff that ran another successful election this past week.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Walsh.
Yes, I had planned on moving to rescind the October order regarding the National Grid conduit, but I'll reserve that. Maybe when the calendar comes out on the next occasion, when those are on the agenda, or when the agenda comes out, that the rescission or the possible rescission of that order might be a listed item on the agenda as well, depending upon the passage. But in any event, I want to, at long last, we will have a newly elected mayor in a few days. But I give congratulations to Mr. Nicholson for his victory and look forward to working with him in the new administration. But I also want to give credit to the 3 other people who ran for this office. It's a difficult time, difficult circumstances. A lot of people have ideas, a lot of people have criticism, but not very many people are willing to put their name in the ballot. It takes more than ideas and more than ego. It takes courage, and especially in difficult circumstances. A lot of people can be critical. A lot of people find fault in what we do or what the city does or what the circumstances of the city are, but they're not often willing to put their name on a ballot to see whether the people, the voters of the city agree with them. So I give great thanks to those who are willing to do that. It's not easy. It's very challenging. And congratulations to all those that do. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Ron Cormier.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have nothing this evening. I will entertain a motion on the floor to adjourn after the closing prayer. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Craig Cormier, seconded by Counselor Boudreau to adjourn after the closing prayer. The clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boudreau,
Yes.
Counselor Craig Cormier,
Yes.
Counselor Ronald Cormier,
Yeah.
Counselor Donalowitz,
Yes.
Counselor Graves,
Yes.
Counselor Hardern,
Yes.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Tyros,
Yes.
Counselor Walsh,
Yes.
President Kaczynskis.
Yes,
7 yeas.
the motion carries. Please rise for the closing prayer. Almighty Father, who seest over all, we adjourn. We thank thee for the opportunity of joint deliberation and action witnessed during the course of this meeting. Bless, O Lord, all who are gathered here and the people whose representatives we are, and do thou attend to our common welfare until our next meeting. Amen. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good night.